Unit 4A, Scalars and Vectors. Scalars are measurements that include two pieces of information, the magnitude and its units. For example, the distance 2,000 meters, where the magnitude or the amount or the size is represented by the number 2,000, and the unit for the measurement represented by a scientifically accepted term, in this case a meter. An equivalent measure would be 2 kilometers, where the magnitude is 2 and the units is kilometers. Another example of a scalar would be speed, which is how fast something is moving. Our example has the magnitude of 16 2/3 with the units meters per second, and an equivalent measure to that would be 60 kilometers per hour. Vectors are scalars with an additional piece of information, direction. Where scalars provide two pieces of information, magnitude and its units, vectors provide three, magnitude, its units, and the direction. Example, left, right, up, down, north, east, west, and south. Some examples of this are position. Position is similar to distance, where it has a magnitude 2, a unit, kilometers, but also includes the direction, in this case, up. A second example is velocity. Velocity is very similar to speed, where it has a magnitude 60, units, kilometers per hour, but also includes direction, which is west in this example. This third piece of data may seem of little importance at first glance, but it's quite informative to us in science. For example, if you found a pirate's map that indicated the buried treasure was located 25 kilometers away from the X, then it leaves you with a 360-degree circle of a radius of 25 kilometers to search. However, if the map read that the treasure was 25 kilometers due north of the X, then the work required to find the treasure would be much easier from this one extra piece of information. Because distance does not include direction, then distance may include the length of a path from point A to B that is not straight. Displacement, which includes a direction, can only be represented by a straight line. Both include magnitude and unit, but only the vector value, which is displacement, includes the direction. So in this case, the curvy line represents distance from point A to point B, which is 30 kilometers long, while the straight line is displacement from point A to point B, which is 15 kilometers to the right. Distance is represented by the symbol d, while displacement is represented by the symbol delta d and has a vector half arrow above it. The distance is 30 kilometers, the displacement is 15 kilometers to the right. A third example is this spider walking around this rectangle. Starting at the bottom left, point A, it walks up to point B. His distance traveled will be 1 meter and his displacement will be 1 meter up. When he turns to the right and walks to the top right corner, point C, his distance would now be 3 meters and its displacement would be a straight line diagonal, which would be root 5 meters up and to the right. When the spider makes the turn down to point D, it will have walked a distance of 4 meters and its displacement would be now 2 meters to the right. Once the spider turns left and returns to the beginning, point A, it will have traveled a total distance of 6 meters, while its total displacement will be 0 meters. Some examples of scalars and vectors are distance, speed, mass, length, energy, and time. For vectors, displacement, velocity, acceleration, position, and forces.